Chelsea felt exhausted, not just from the long days she had to endure, but from the feeling that she was trapped in a relationship with no freedom, no space for herself. Every day that passed, Allison was like a shadow hovering around her, always clinging, always wanting to occupy Chelsea's personal space. From unexpected calls to unscheduled visits, everything seemed to have crossed the limit. Chelsea's patience, already exhausted, was now reduced to determination. Determination to speak her mind, to protect herself. When Chelsea saw Allison enter the room, once again, without warning, she knew it was time. She couldn't let this situation continue. With a cold but determined look, Chelsea said clearly and decisively, "Allison, I need space. I need to live my life without feeling controlled. That's a boundary you have to respect." Allison stood still, eyes wide, seemingly unable to comprehend what Chelsea had just said. She stepped forward, her expression tense. The surprise quickly turned to anger. For Allison, it was more than just words. It was a challenge she could not accept. "That's not it, Chelsea. I just care about you. I just want to be with you," Allison countered, her tone laced with frustration. But Chelsea was running out of patience. "No, Allison, you don't understand. I need my space, and I can't live like this anymore." The confrontation became tense. Chelsea realized that it wasn't just Allison's words but her actions that were truly dangerous. She didn't know if Allison would accept her words, but Chelsea felt the urge to cut them off. Allison, who had always been controlling, who had always wanted to occupy every little space in Chelsea's life, might not accept this now. This relationship, if not resolved, will fall apart. But will Allison's madness surpass all limits? The next day, Chelsea realized that she might have made a big mistake. When she returned home, she found the door locked from the inside, and there was no sign of Allison. A feeling of anxiety enveloped Chelsea. She called Allison but received no response. At this moment, she began to feel fear creeping into her heart. She had pushed Allison too far, and she didn't know if Allison had the sense to stop. The scene in Chelsea's house became dark and quiet. When she entered the living room, the door suddenly slammed shut behind her. Chelsea turned around in surprise, and before her eyes, Allison appeared, her expression devoid of any emotion, only anger and darkness in her eyes. "Do you think I will let you go so easily?" Allison growled, taking steps closer. The feeling of being hunted began to well up inside Chelsea. She wanted to escape, but the door was locked. Chelsea realized that she was in danger, a danger she had never thought of. Allison, who she had once considered a friend, had now become an enemy, willing to do anything to keep Chelsea by her side. The final limit had been crossed. Allison's anger became uncontrollable. In a fit of madness, she locked Chelsea in her room and began to act in completely unpredictable ways. Allison's loss of control did not stop at just imprisoning Chelsea, but could get worse, putting Chelsea in a life-or-death situation. She was no longer the friend Chelsea had once trusted. Now, her madness had led Allison down a path no one could have predicted. A feeling of despair filled Chelsea's heart. She feared not only for her own life, but also for what would happen if Allison could not be stopped. Faced with a man who has lost control, Chelsea doesn't know if she can survive this battle. A change has come to Chelsea's life, a change she couldn't have foreseen, and now, all that remains is uncertainty and fear. Eva finds herself in a difficult situation from which she cannot escape. She has tried to rise up from the darkness of her past, but now she feels like she is being pulled back into her mother's passions and schemes. Leslie, the powerful mother Eva has come to know so well, never leaves her completely free. Leslie's antics, the plots, the lies, the calculated fights have now become too much for Eva. There seems to be no time when Leslie is not in her daughter's life. No time when Eva can freely decide her own life without her mother's interference. Although Eva has tried to break free from Leslie's control, reality is not as easy as she expected. Imagine that every time Eva thought she could escape her mother's influence, there was an event, a conversation, or a relationship that Leslie could use to pull Eva back into the world she wanted to escape. And each time, Eva asked herself, am I really strong enough to break the invisible strings that my mother had tied around me? The relationship between Eva and Leslie, already fraught with tension, became more and more uncomfortable. Eva, now an adult with her own thoughts, no longer wanted to continue living in the shadow of her mother's decisions. The confrontations between mother and daughter became more and more tense. The boundaries Eva set became more and more obvious. She began to make her own decisions, sometimes at odds with what Leslie wanted, and that was something her mother could not accept. Leslie, with her controlling personality, did not easily give up what she had built over the years. Eva tried to be steadfast, but every time she faced Leslie, she found herself weaker. Her mother had a strange power, a power that she could hardly explain. Leslie knew how to use everything around her to control her daughter, from sweet words to hidden schemes, never lacking the charm of power. But Eva was not someone who could be easily controlled. She had relationships, friends that she trusted, and one of them was Ted. She found a support in Ted, who always loved and cared for her without asking for anything in return. But the relationship with Ted was not easy. Ted and Leslie could not get along. And while Eva wanted to find happiness with the man she loved, her mother always found a way to complicate things. And then there is Nicole, Eva's best friend, whom she has always considered a sister. Nicole is the only one who understands the conflicts in Eva's heart and is always ready to support her in difficult times. However, even Nicole cannot protect Eva from Leslie's strong influence. Nicole cannot change the decisions that Eva has to make, nor can she decide for Eva. Every time Eva faces a dilemma between her mother and her boyfriend, between love and family, she feels indescribable fatigue. Eva is tired. She knows that her patience has reached its limit. She cannot continue to live in Leslie's shadow forever. But is she brave enough to completely shake off her mother's influence? Can she completely leave Leslie's control without suffering more pain? Every step Eva takes now is like a big challenge. She wonders to herself, are her choices really the right ones? Can she find happiness? Or will she remain trapped in a never-ending game of power? As Leslie gets closer, Eva feels a tug of war inside her. Her mother never gives up, nor does she accept defeat easily. Leslie, for all her wisdom and calculation, will never stop fighting to regain power. And Eva, even as an adult, feels like she is struggling between two worlds, one with her mother, and the other with Ted and Nicole, who love her. Eva realizes that she cannot continue to live in this conflict. She tries, but the boundaries she has set with Leslie seem to be ineffective. Every time she thinks she can pull away, her mother finds a way to pull her back into her world. And now she is at a crossroads. On one side is the freedom she has always longed for. On the other is the love and loyalty to her mother, a woman who has spent her whole life holding everything in her hands. Eva will have to make a decision, and she knows that this decision will completely change her life. Can Eva escape Leslie's embrace? Or will she be forever caught up in the power game her mother has created? Tyrell and Samantha's worlds are turned upside down in an unforeseen moment. Both have lived with vague memories of their families, of the people who raised them and the people they once considered family. But now they must face a painful truth, a truth that neither of them could have prepared for. June, the woman they never knew, is their biological mother. The events begin when Naomi, the person Tyrell and Samantha have considered their caretaker and protector, decides to reveal a long-held secret. She can no longer bear to see the instability in her children's lives, especially when they begin to feel a void that she cannot fill. Naomi knows that it is time for the truth to come out. She went to Smitty and Martin, the two men who had been with her throughout her care of Tyrell and Samantha, and told them that they had found their biological mother. Everything changed in that moment. For Smitty and Martin, it was a shock. They both knew that they had devoted their hearts and souls to raising these children, but neither of them could have imagined that these children were not their own. Their minds were reeling as they realized that all this time, they had cared for and loved other people's children, and now, the truth could no longer be hidden. Tyrell and Samantha were shocked to hear the truth. All these years, they had considered Naomi their biological mother. She was the only one who cared for them, the one who gave them time, love, and protection, and now they are faced with a reality they never thought possible. They are not the children of the woman they loved most. June, a woman they can't remember, is now revealed to be their mother. Tyrell, who has always had a hard time forming relationships, is now in a very difficult situation. He doesn't know how to feel about it. The truth about his birth mother makes him feel like his whole world is falling apart. He can't accept that the mother he loved and trusted, Naomi, is not the one who gave birth to him. And he can't understand why June abandoned him, and why now, after all these years, this truth is being revealed. Samantha, who had always dreamed of finding the truth about her family, also felt like she was thrown into a vast ocean with no way out. How many times had she wondered about her birth mother? How many times had she felt a void, as if there was a part of her that was not filled? Now, the truth had come, and it was not something she could easily accept. She felt betrayed by everyone around her, from Naomi to herself, for not realizing that she had always been missing an important part of her life story. When Tyrell and Samantha first met June, their emotions were indescribable. No matter how many explanations, no matter how many reasons, the truth was that they could not accept that this woman was their birth mother. June had no memories of them, no years of raising them, no motherly love for her children. She is just a stranger who left her past behind and now returns as a ghost in their lives. However, the truth cannot be changed. Tyrell and Samantha will have to find a way to face it. But will they have the strength to face the past and reclaim what was lost? Or will they choose to completely cut ties with the people who raised them all these years? Tyrell, with his hot-tempered and stubborn personality, may choose to withdraw and not want to learn more about his birth mother. He may feel that keeping his distance from June is the only way to protect himself from deep hurt. Samantha, who is always searching for the truth, may be drawn into a journey of self-discovery. She may want to understand more about her past, even though this may lead to emotional confrontations. She may try to resolve her relationship with June, or even find out why she abandoned her. But in all of these choices, she will have to confront herself with her complicated feelings about motherhood, love, and betrayal. As these truths turn their lives upside down, Tyrell and Samantha will have to face difficult decisions. They can choose to forgive and rebuild a relationship with June, or they can decide to cut all ties with this woman and continue with life as they know it. But no matter which choice they make, their lives will never be the same again. Kat felt like she was being dragged into a tangle of emotions that she couldn't control. She and Tomas had been together for a long time, but it seemed like the connection between them was no longer what it used to be. The long nights in the bedroom, the broken conversations, and the avoiding of each other's gazes made Kat feel lonely, even though Tomas was still there, right next to her. Their relationship had lost its rhythm, and every time she was near Tomas, Kat felt like something important was missing. Their relationship had started out passionate and romantic, but now things had turned cold. Kat felt like a lost soul, longing to rediscover the love and passion she once had. She knew that Tomas felt this too, but instead of facing the truth, he seemed to choose to ignore it, trying to maintain a relationship that they both knew could not continue as before. Part of Kat still doesn't want to give up, because she believes that the relationship can be saved. But she also knows that if they continue like this, the relationship will only become more deadlocked. So when she hears about a salsa night at a local club, where everyone will dance and enjoy the music, Kat decides that it could be a chance to start over. They could reconnect again. It could be a chance to mend the cracks they've created in their relationship. Tomas, who has always been somewhat rigid and uncommunicative in their relationship, agrees to join in, hoping that the salsa night could bring them new moments, beautiful memories to recreate the feeling of love they've lost. However, Kat feels nervous because she knows that real change doesn't come from a dance, but from sincere efforts to change themselves and their relationship. Meanwhile, Eva, Tomas's ex-girlfriend, still lingers in Kat's mind like an indelible ghost. Kat knows that Eva and Tomas had a deep relationship, And even though they broke up, she can't deny that Eva still has a special influence on Tomas. Eva is always someone Kat can't compare to, someone Tomas loved and lost. That feeling of insecurity haunts Kat, making her unable to stop worrying that Tomas still misses Eva and that maybe one day, he will come back to her. However, the salsa evening doesn't go as Kat expected. Things start off with excitement, but then become increasingly tense. The intimate dances that Kat and Tomas attempt only serve to highlight the distance between them. Tomas doesn't show his emotions like before, and Kat feels that, no matter how many dances they have, there is still an invisible distance between them. She realizes that music cannot save a relationship that is too broken. As the truth gradually emerges, Kat cannot avoid facing a truth that she has tried to hide in her heart. Tomas no longer loves her as before. The feeling of emptiness comes, although she has tried her best. From organizing romantic evenings to challenging herself to be able to get along with Tomas, everything seems to be in vain. Kat begins to feel that she has wasted too much time and effort on a relationship that has no future. At the same time, Kat also realizes something important. She cannot continue to live in a relationship without understanding and true love. In moments of hesitation, she feels that she needs to let go of Tomas and find a love that she truly deserves. And Eva, who Kat once considered a rival, now becomes a bright spot in her life. Eva, with her deep understanding of Kat, was not only a friend that Kat could lean on in difficult times. They had shared many close moments and shared many things about their lives and relationships. Kat felt that perhaps Eva was the person she needed to find to replace Tomas. Eva not only understood Kat, but also had the ability to listen and share that Tomas could never provide. The feeling of intimacy and connection between Kat and Eva was something she never had with Tomas. The salsa incident was the end of Kat and Tomas' relationship. After that night, Kat decided to stop holding on. She could not continue living in a relationship that existed only out of habit and awkwardness. Although Tomas tried to reconnect while salsa dancing, Kat knew that the love between them was gone. She decided to leave Tomas for good and enter a new chapter in her life. Eva, with patience and sincerity, did not abandon Kat when she felt weak. She decided to give Kat a chance to step out of the cycle of her unhealthy relationship with Tomas and instead start a new love, a love that she could truly understand and appreciate. Could this be the turning point in Kat's life where she finds true love?